This episode of the Golf Gaming Podcast on the Sports Gaming Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBET has what you need to win. Sign up today. You bet $100, you get $100 at sportsgamingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's sportsgamingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. State restrictions do apply. And we're also brought to you by the College Basketball Experience. March Madness is heating up, and you need to subscribe to the College Basketball Experience. It's awesome, baby. All right, welcome back, D-Gens. It's the API betting show with your boy Boston Capper, with the God of Golf himself, Steve Shermer, and very special recurring guest, member of the family at this point, Joe Idone. Joe, what's up, baby? How are you?
What up, dudes? I've been fired up to talk to you guys today. Had Steve on a little bit a while ago on my show. You've been on, of course, Capper. Yeah. So, man, let's get into it, dude. I'm fired up. We got another elevated event. We can't get enough of them at this point. It was for me, it was honestly a nice little breather to not have to, like, I'm a sicko that kind of enjoyed not watching, like, Rahm and Scotty and Rory battle it out for 1 week. But I'm ready to get back to some big dogs here this week.
Yeah, it's nice to not have. I mean, we'll go over our card, but it was nice not to have a lot of like squeamish picks on our card. Like, all right, I've seen you do like decent at this like lower level event before, and I think you can handle all the water here and doing crazy cross comps with European Tour courses. Yeah, that went very poorly for me. Glad I could not do that again this week. So, but we were just talking before the show. We were just talking before the show about how with the TV ratings with the Honda, like that was pretty great. The fact that it got through, over 3 million viewers. You were saying it was one of the most attended events, in the area there for a while. And, Jack spilled the beans as far as, we're going to maybe get an elevated event there next year. So, what's your vibe about with the Honda Classic? Obviously you're, the hometown guy. What's your vibe level with them right now?
Yeah, man, I always loved that event. Obviously it's sort of, I go a couple times a year for like the last 11 years. The attendance was fantastic. Like the Bear Trap build out is even bigger. The 18th green build out is even bigger. They built this thing up like they were anticipating an elevated event, and like the people, they love golf around here, right? And there's a lot of corporate companies that like will host stuff at the Honda. So like there's always going to get people that come and support it. But it was like nice. Like I was following Shane Lowry and like there was some quietness. And like at one point there was an older lady who kind of like screamed at him after, like, as he's walking from one green, like, "We're so happy you came back, Shane." And like the whole place was like, yeah. And like Lowry was like fist pumping the crowd. So like they really appreciated, they appreciate golf. So it's good to see them, hopefully Jack will kind of be the bridge between the new tournament sponsor and Jay and the PGA Tour higher ups. And you would think they would kind of gamble, take a little incentive in terms of getting a new sponsor on board. Like, hey, we're going to throw you this elevated event next year. You're going to have the best players in the world. Let's sign a 10-year deal to be the new sponsor at PGA National.
Yeah, and I know the players don't like it, but the fans fucking love it, and the TV ratings show it, right? Like even the non-sickos, like as you called us, right, that enjoy events like this, like your regular guy who watches it and throws it on a Saturday, he wants to see carnage, he wants to see balls go in the water, he wants the drama of a Sunday, and this course gives the normal viewer that shit, whether they have money on it or not. Like it creates drama, and courses like this are too few on this tour. And yeah, we said it off air. I hope to God it gets fucking match play. Oh, I hope it gets.
Yeah, there's a lot of history, man. Honda's the longest running sponsor. Like we know this course is hosted Ryder Cups. It's been around forever, and we can all picture like the shot that Tiger hit on 18. It's got a great list of like previous champions from Rory and JT and Ricky and local guys. And because it has that history, as I think what makes it special, no matter what the field. It's what made Eric Cole become a story last week. It's created the Chris Kirk story. We got Ryan Gerard, a guy who Monday queued and all of a sudden, finished in one of the final groups. So you have that, and that will always appeal to people. And that's part of the magic that the PGA Tour has with the history of these events, that like something like Mayakoba you can't just replicate it easily. So it's a special tournament to a lot of people.
Right. So if we get a lot of, the bigger names coming in next year, I mean, we've seen guys like JT play, Rory's played before, like anybody like in particular that like, you haven't really recalled ever playing here, you are really interested in seeing like, attack, PGA National, see how they do.
Absolutely. Like the West Coast guys never play here. So what I mean by that is like Xander, Finau, Rom, those guys have never shown up here. So it would be nice. And then to get Rory and JT and some of the guys who live up in Jupiter, that's a 15-minute drive, some of those guys on board to come back. But yeah, it'll certainly be nice to see like Patrick Cantlay never plays. So some of the top guys that have skipped this event every year for the last 11 years, it will be nice to see like basically forced into coming and dealing with the bear trap and all the carnage that's around PGA.
Yeah, I think the one guy that came to mind, I think Capper will agree with this. I want to see Siwoo Kim at PGA National. Just I want to see how many putters he throws into the water, how many clubs he snaps. I remember at Augusta National when I was walking around last year, they cut away, but he missed like a 3-foot putt and he just fired his golf ball about 90 miles per hour into the pond next to it. I can only imagine what that would do to him there. So, yeah, I mean, that'd be great if obviously match play. I think that would be a really, really fun time, especially if the wind was up. It was a little disappointing. We didn't get a lot of wind, but it looks like we're in a lot of wind this week. So why don't we maybe transition to that? So that's been a big talking point this week. I mean, we spent a lot of time talking about it on Sunday. Yesterday, we were kind of, we tried to do a DFS show, but without having any of the tee times and everything, it was just like, all right, well, we might like this guy, we might not. Now it's, we have the tee times. We have, we're a little closer to, Thursday and Friday. Friday's the big win day. Saturday, we're going to get some stuff too. So I guess, has the weather kind of changed a little bit how you made your betting card this week at all?
Not really. And it probably should have, to be honest with you, Steve. I saw some numbers early out on Monday and I just kind of took them. And then today, if I'm being honest, had like fingers crossed that they were on the right side of the draw. And I got a couple of them right and a couple of them wrong. But look, the thing is we know how quickly it changes. I didn't want to wait and see some of these numbers potentially crater a little bit and catch a worse number, down the road. And the other thing is like from what I was looking at, and I'm trying to pull it up here now. So it's tough to say which is really worse. So the afternoon has higher winds, right? But there's a more consistency between what Windfinder is saying is a gust and the standard wind. So would you rather have a 20 mile an hour per wind steady with up to 25 mile an hour gusts, or would you rather play in 13 mile an hour winds with up to 30 mile an hour gusts? You know what I'm saying? So it's just, I think it boils down to the player, and they're going to have to embrace the elements a little bit with the wind, and they're going to have to embrace the difficult golf course that they're about to try to take on for 72 holes.
Yeah, I mean, so I showed a little bit in my Discord channel. So I also am looking at this wind finder, how Bay Hill is kind of situated and how it flows, around the front nine, the back nine. In the afternoon, the wind's gonna start coming a little bit out of the southwest. And a lot of those holes start playing with a crosswind at that point. So I know that basically hole number 4, that long par 4, and number 12, they're basically the same hole. They go basically from southeast to northwest. So that's going to be a crosswind all the way across that hole. That's not ideal. A lot of that front nine too, it's going to be a little bit of a crosswind. And then I noticed in the morning, even if, it's coming directly from the south. Well, if you ask a lot of these guys, they'd rather have just a direct tailwind or a direct headwind. They can kind of adjust that. These guys drive themselves absolutely nuts with the crosswind. So,
yeah,
I mean, that's going to be tough to navigate. But again, with wind, you never know. It's also interesting too that, the wind is going to start, it says around 10 a.m. Could be a little earlier than that, could be a little later. So maybe the winds come a little earlier and all this wind split, goes right to hell. Yeah. And another thing too is, it seems like if you make the cut and maybe you're 35th or 40th or something like that, there might be an opportunity to rise up the leaderboard on Saturday morning if you get out really early, because it seems like there's going to be some wind in the afternoon. So who knows? Maybe you might be able to take a chance on a guy who just slips into the cut going in and then makes a run, posts a good number or respectable number, and then end up in the mix on Sunday and everything looks ideal. I got one of those guys on my card that I'm kind of hoping that maybe that does it. But yeah, I mean, it's really going to be interesting to see what happens this week.
10 a.m. is tough because It could, like, it goes from 7 to 10 basically. You don't know if it's coming in at 8:30 or if it's coming in at 10. And the other thing is, guys, is like, when's the last time we saw an entire first round finished on Thursday?
Thank
Like,
you. I
every
had a
time
rant about this
these
shit
tee
last
times
night.
have been getting pushed back. So I think that could be a fact. Steve, is 6, right? Is the par 5 all the way?
Yes.
Is that projected to play downwind on Friday? Because that could be
No.
fun.
No, so that is that. So when the
Okay.
wind is from the southwest, the tee shot is right into the wind right there. So
Oh,
basically,
geez.
I mean, you're on video, so it goes like this. That was a terrible example, but regardless, so the tee shot's right into the wind, and then the approach shot where you get the lake all the way to the left there, the wind is pushing it towards the lake at that point. So when you have a direct south wind, it's a crosswind for the tee shot, but it's right into the wind for the approach shot, which is a little more manageable. So yeah, that's another one that might be really, really dicey. I know that with 17, 18 basically plays, south and north there with a little bit of a crosswind. It's going to want to push it maybe a little, towards the, like it's a longer carry over the water. If it goes right, that's not ideal for 17. Same thing with 18 as well. So, and plus it's a little bit of a tailwind. You don't really want to go right there. It's going to want to push things to it. So it's going to be tough. I mean, we'll see what happens. I kind of just took a stand with my betting card as far as what I want with the win strategy. I did something with my positionals this week. I'll explain a little bit what I did to maybe keep a little bit more money now, and then maybe use some stuff after Friday.
Yes.
We'll go over that too. So we'll see what happens.
This is definitely a live bullet. Like,
yeah.
hang on to some shit. And like you said, and listen, the bad way, even if it goes the way we think it's going to go, right? There's going to be a stud or two, or a guy who has an actual shot to win this tournament, still make it through the cut, and he could be, however many 5 shots behind, and you can get a much better live number. And I'd rather spend my money on that gamble than not, right? So I mean, that's kind of where I build my betting card. I'm just buying into like the Friday afternoon guys are a huge disadvantage compared to the other ones. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So be it. And that's it, man. These weeks are either really good for me or really bad. So
there we go. So, all right. Well, why don't we take a quick break, and then we'll start getting to the betting card.
Let's do it. Well, listen, WynnBET is the official online sportsbook of the Sports Gambling Podcast. WynnBET is active in a bunch of states, and there's tons of ways to win, including live betting and same-game parlays, a.k.a. WynnBET's Build Your Own Bet. Match Madness is almost here, plus plenty of ways to win, getting down on the NBA, NHL, and XFL. Sign up today to receive a special offer. Bet $100 to get $100. Limited to state availability. And of course, for our DGens only, if you hit the biggest long shot parlay of the week, you get $1,000 in free credit. There's so much to choose from, and all you got to do is head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET so they know that we sent you. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. Offer is subject to change. Terms and conditions at WynnBET.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WynnBET is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. And of course, don't forget the SGPN merch store. We continue to add new stuff to the store every day. Head over to the store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com to get your favorite shirts, hats, sweats, and hoodies. Like I said, that lightweight tee hoodie thing that I got came in really handy for the 3 weeks of winter that I had down here when I went out to the golf course. I take it off by hole 3 because I'd be fucking hot, but it helped on the range, and I like it a lot. So there you go. Go buy that.
Yeah, there you go. I'm rocking something very comfy too. Nothing on podcast. I think it's actually that they say the long sleeve tee that you just described there too. So
no, is that the heavy sweatshirt?
This is a light sweatshirt with a little hoodie on the back.
It feels like a t-shirt.
Yeah, it's just a t-shirt.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
It's great.
Got the gray one.
Yeah, it's nice and comfy. Wear it around the house. Go to Jar Range, you're right. So
all right, that's awesome.
All right, Joe. So let's get to outright bets. Pretty dangerous with the weather situation, but we'll see what happens. So Joe, why don't you go over who you bet outright to win the Arnold Palmer Invitational?
I bet Rory. It's not sexy.
Shit.
I know. Listen, I've got a weird track record, guys, of getting Rory right at the right time.
Okay.
You check the banner. I got it right twice last year at pretty good numbers. I don't think 10-1 is a bad betting price on Rory this week. I think that you're basically going to have, if you're going to bet him any week on the PGA Tour, pick a week. You're going to pretty much pay 10-1, right?
Yep.
I think I could make an argument that this may be one of the best weeks that you could possibly bet him in terms of win probability per that number, that betting price. He's awesome at Bay Hill. It's one of his stickiest course history spots. All the metrics that I was sort of honing in on a little bit this week were a couple. Who's gained the most strokes tee to green at Bay Hill over the last 6 years? Rory. Who's the best par 5 scorer over the last 36 rounds? So we know the importance of them. Rory. Yep. When I also tried to look into 2 stats based on difficult scoring conditions, so the 2 that I looked at, and they're kind of on opposite ends of the spectrum. So one is birdie or better rate. So how many, are you able to score in difficult conditions? And the other was bogey avoidance. Can you avoid disaster? Rory's number 1 in bogey avoidance, and he's 3rd in birdie or better rates. It's hard not to make a case for Rory this week. I do think that Rahm is the better player. So I'll preface it with that, but I think this is a much better spot for Rory. If you could actually find a decent plus money matchup on the 2, I would advise Rory there as well in that head-to-head. That's my guy at 10-1 at the top.
Okay. Damn. So it kills me, man. Like, because you're right. Everything, like, this is the scariest thing about you said you got like a little bit of a break from having to bet these guys. Yeah. So, but this week presents a different problem for bettors, right? It's like there's so many good guys, and the books are cowards, and they compress them all at 25-1 or under because they know only so many guys have it. And it's like, do you just bite the bullet and bet Rory at 10-1, or do you take a couple guys at like 20? And it's like, I would feel much better with a Rory ticket than the guys that I'm betting in the fucking 20s.
Yeah. It's tough to say. I mean, we'll see. It does feel like he kind of got the good side of the weather draw, although he's a little bit in between. But yeah, that's the argument. And usually I'm with you, dude. I'm usually in. I'd rather have 3 guys at 26-1. But I don't know. It was just when I saw the number, I'm just like, this feels like Rory week.
Okay. And I'm sorry, Capper, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's just like betting against these 3 studs is just terrifying in general anyway. You know what I mean? And so if you're comfortable with it, then yeah, like I could be sold on Rory because I've talked to Steve about it. Like he was missing left with his drive. Rahm was missing left, and I was like, all right, it's 6-1. Yeah, like his putter's been carrying him. Like he doesn't have the course history that Rory has here. Scotty, I don't know, is he gonna defend again? Jesus, you know what I mean? Like, can he do it again? And I'm not a Rory guy. I've bet him. I've won him. But I don't know, man. My card's kind of light right now. And you on Rory, somebody else I respect is on Rory. God damn it, dude. I don't want to have to bet Rory at 10 to fucking 1.
Yeah. All right. So the problems with Rory lately has not been the ball sharing, hasn't really been tee to green, it's been with putters. So do you think a return to Bay Hill, where he's obviously won and done very well here, do you think that might wake it up? Or do you might see, because guys have trouble putting when it's really windy conditions, even if he has on the good side of the draw, he's going to have to face it at some point during this tournament. Do you think he can overcome that? Or do you think that might still be the answer? Or do you think it might be like last year where nobody can make a putt and it's not going to matter?
I think sort of both. I think that you're finding enough looks inside of 15 feet are going to be extremely hard to come across this week. You're going to have to possess elite level like ball striking or driving distance, I think, to get yourself opportunities. Like I talked to James Nitties yesterday. I had him on my show who was there the other day, and he was like, balls were coming into the greens and bouncing 12 to 15 feet in the air. Yeah. He was like, God. It is so firm. And the wind's only going to exasperate that even more. So he's going to be able to score on the par 5s. I'm confident in that. And this is the place where I think he had his best putting performance of his career when he won a few years ago. He gained like 11 strokes putting at Bay Hill. So he had a fantastic year. I think coming back to Bermuda grass is also a benefit for him. I don't think that POA is his best surface. The numbers may tell you differently, but I know he lives here in Jupiter. I know he plays at Medalist. I know he just played in the Seminole Pro-Am. Like, this is where he's familiar. So if there was some sort of a struggle on the West Coast, I think it can just, if anything, it just gives him an excuse, like it mentally, like, okay, I'm back on Bermuda. I'm back where I'm familiar, because he had previously before that, the previous season, made giant strides with the putter from what he had seen maybe 2 to 3 years ago. So he had one of his better putting years. I think he could rebound.
Okay. All right, great. Is that the only guy on your card, or do you have a couple other guys?
So I also took Sung J M.
Okay.
I got 35-1 on Sung J M. it was tough for me because now I see Justin Thomas is kind of drifting into that range, and I wonder about that. I just like Sung Jae's consistency on tough courses. I like his ability to get up and down here. I like the fact that he played last week. You know, it wasn't great. He lost, I think, 5 or 6 strokes putting, but the fact that he teed it up, I do put some weight into. There's some guys that carried it over last year. Chris Kirk was one of them who like top 5, both the Honda and this last year. Gary Woodland, I believe, had good performances at both last year as well. So I think just playing and getting those reps in Florida under your belt could be helpful. So Sung Jae I have. And then I took the Hideki, man. I got 70-1 yesterday. I couldn't resist it. Too big of a number. It's a silly betting price. I'll bet that in every single tournament that Hideki plays.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking the most famous Hideki example of a windy, firm win for him was the Masters back in 2021, where, you know, the first couple of days really windy, really firm greens, and he ends up winning. I think for me, with Hideki, I'm still worried about that neck injury. I know that they mentioned, I think, at Torrey or Phoenix that he was kind of rubbing it still. So, but we'll see what happens. I mean, listen, he had a week off, and, you know, maybe he just went to the chiropractor, and it's all in. 71 for Hideki. I mean, if he's right, that's a great number. So, pretty good for you. So.
The last guy that I took was 125-1. I'm not really expecting him to win, if I'm being completely honest, but it was Taylor Montgomery. Like his upside, I think for a while there he was very overpriced, and I think you're getting a little bit of a discount this week. I mean, this is like is borderline hot take-ish, but I don't think he's not 3 times worse than Cameron Young.
I would agree with that.
What's that?
I would agree with that.
Yeah, so I think that they're a lot closer than the betting odds would indicate. And if we're looking for a young player with a ton of talent who possesses all the tools in his game, who's still looking for that first PGA Tour win, I think that he's like just as likely to nab it as Cam Young is in the next 3 to 4 months. So it's a huge number.
I'll make a little comp on Taylor Montgomery. Just kind of came to my mind. Why can't he do what Lucas Herbert did last year at Bay Hill? Where, listen, he's pretty long off the tee. Not a great iron player, but good around the green, and he can putt. So I think just that mold of a guy this week, especially if it in adverse conditions, even if there's no wind, it's going to be hard, you know, to keep the ball on the green and everything. That could play well. I think that's actually a pretty sharp player from you right there.
Yeah, that was the one that I made today, and I do believe, I have to double check this, but I believe that he has the first tee time out on Friday.
He does.
Okay. Yeah,
so
him and I know
sort of a weather wave thing that they didn't move the number, and I don't know if I haven't checked the odds most recently. I don't know if they moved the number for anyone based on a weather draw.
They didn't.
But him being out at 7 a.m. and being done with his round by 11:15 is probably a good thing if things stay the same.
Yeah, I think it was him and Keith Mitchell, I think, were the guys who were going out like real early on Friday, which really made my case for Mitchell, which I'll talk about.
I like Keith too. Yeah.
So. Yeah. All right, Capper. You said that your card's kind of late right now. Do you want me to go? Do you want me to start talking? So you maybe start
guys. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I already think Joe might have convinced me on Rory, so we can expect angry texts from Thursday to Sunday when it doesn't go well.
Okay. All right. So why don't I walk through my process of this week? So I tried. Normally, what I do is I usually just go hard and heavy on Monday morning. I at that point, I already had my guys on my dashboard. Joe, you've seen this dashboard. It's insane. But I have everything up there. My Denny's menu, my Andy Reid offensive play calling sheet. And I'm like, you know what? All right, I want this guy, and this guy. And I start looking at all the odds where I shop, and then I get my guys. I tried to exercise some patience this week, unless I saw a guy, you know, like 65, 71 plus, who I just really liked that I was just going to gamble on as far as like the tee time split. So I found a Keith Mitchell 70-1 at the beginning of the week. I just took it. I think he's been playing great. I love how well he's been driving the ball. Obviously, he has great results in Florida. And the win at the Honda Classic. He's got, you know, another 9th place finish there. Good finishes at Bay Hill. He's got a good finish at TPC Twin Cities. That's an Arnold Palmer as well with a lot of water. So he's got a 20th place finish at TPC Boston, another Arnold Palmer golf course. So a lot of these cross comps for me. Success in Florida. I know he can do it in tough weather conditions. I just saw it at Pebble Beach. You know, that Saturday when the wind was way up, he played really good. 70-1 on him. I think he can actually hang with these guys too. I was really impressed with Riviera. He hung tough. I think that might have given him confidence, to say, all right, I can do this. And then 90-1 on Ricky Fowler. I thought that was a good price, and he's playing really good. Obviously, really good history at Bay Hill. He's been hitting his irons so good lately. The off the tee has been a little up and down, but he's been finding a lot more fairways with some of his swing changes. Again, he's been really good at Bay Hill. He's got a win at TPC Boston. He's got a win at Honda. Another second place finish at Honda. Good finishes at Bay Hill. So, for 90-1 for a guy playing really good with a solid track record, it's a long shot with the number, but I don't think it would surprise anybody if he actually won, just given his pedigree and how well he's playing. I like that. And then I waited until today. I wanted to see what the tee times were. And I took a stand of, unless I can recall, you conquering the odds in a bad weather split, famously, I wasn't going to take you. So, and I don't love the guys I end up finding with the afternoon or with the PM AM wave, but there's enough of a history where, even though they might have the course history at Bay Hill, I've seen them have recent success in wind where I'm just going to go with it. So Xander 25-1. Obviously, he hasn't played a lot of Florida golf. We talked about that last night, but I've seen, and this used to be a guy I think was a little bit of a house cat, as we kind of call people on this podcast. But last year at Travelers, when he won, that final round got really windy. He persevered. The Scottish Open, really windy. He persevered. And talk about a guy who's in tough weather conditions, solid tee to green. He's been hitting his irons really well, driving it really good. The around the green game has been a little loose, but I think that's going to bounce back for him. So I got 25-1 on Xander. I like that price, even though there's not a whole lot of course history here. And then Tony Finau 26-1. I think what sold me on him was, it seems like he's figured out Bermuda. So you look at his last couple of results. He's got the 5th at TPC Southwind, a lot of water, and Bermuda greens. He finished 9th at the Tour Championship last year. He gained strokes putting there. Won at Houston, did really well putting there. Always is really good at Albany. That's Tiff Eagle greens. 7th at Kapalua. Those are Tiff Eagle greens too. Hitting the ball pretty well. Very efficient tee to green. It seems like when he played Bay Hill, it wasn't necessarily the ball striking that was an issue for some of his tournaments. It seemed like just on and around the greens. So he's kind of figured that out. Maybe he can actually get a win here. And I've seen him do it in in tough conditions. So I like that. And then I have not placed this bet because I'm going to wait to see where he drifts, but you just mentioned it. I will probably bet JT just to kind of cover my ass. And I talked about him a lot last night. I tried to make a case for Capper. Great history in Florida. Obviously, winner at Honda, winner at Sawgrass. He's a winner at TPC Boston. I talked a lot about that golf course last night where there's a lot of guys who've won and had success there, had a lot of success at Bay Hill. So like Bryson, Henrik Stenson, Rory, even Charlie Hoffman back in the day won there. He's had done well at Bay Hill. Shout out Jeff Nagel for that little nugget there that he just sent me before the show. So I just really like that crossover. I know he's only played here once. That was 2015, but he hit the ball fine. I just think that he's due for a win. There's been some issues with his game lately, but I think he can turn around the iron game that was not very good at Riviera. He's been a really good around the green, though. That's been the one consistent thing all year. Off the tee's been a little better. The putter has been kind of coming along a little bit, too. I think he's starting to maybe peak, and I kind of like him come back to Florida putting on these greens. And I want to see where the number drifts, but I probably will end up betting him anyway. So those are my 5. I don't think I'm going to live bet. I think if I'm going to add stuff, it's going to be positionals, try and get some guys that maybe kind of squeak into the cut, take advantage of some, early tee times on Saturday, maybe move up and see what happens. But I like the card. Obviously, I'm scared about one of the top 3, like Rory or Rahm Shepard just winning, but that's every tournament now. So, So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. So you guys didn't fucking help me at all. Cause it was just like, it's the paralysis of these guys at the top. And so when I was looking today, cause I actually had some discipline this week, it helps the fact that Joe understands I live in fucking Florida and my locals sometimes don't put out numbers. It's like 1:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And so the only guy I bet sub 30-1 was Morikawa. Now Steve says he has something that we figured out why he doesn't play well in the wind, but I mean, he won concession. He's only played here once, but he top 10'd it. I mean, other than the Phoenix, where he completely just shat his wad around the green and putting. I mean, the dude second, third, sixth. Like, I don't know, man. Like, he's such a fucking good iron player. He got the good weather draw, thank God. He worries me around the green, but I feel like it's the shade. There's some more rough around here that will hold the ball up a little bit more, and he has a better chance of doing it. It's kind of like why Hovland did well here, right? They kind of have the same type of deficiencies in the short game. I got him at 22. I liked it a lot until Steve texted me 6 hours ago. I figured out why Morikawa wasn't good in the wind, and now I'm just waiting for it. Why isn't he good in the wind?
I mean, listen, Morikawa does make an appearance on my betting card,
Okay.
but it seems like anytime he is in significant wind, it's not necessarily the ball striking that goes; it's on and around the green that suffers. So,
Okay,
like,
great.
I looked a little bit. So I looked a little bit more into like. So he just did pretty well at Torrey Pines on the South Course in those windy conditions. Didn't putt very well. I remember he was, I think, close to the lead at Harbor Town a couple like 2 years ago. The putter went away that day when it got windy. He was putting fine up until that point. There's a couple other examples I found that, you know, in calmer conditions, on and around the green has been fine, but then when the wind kicked up, that was an issue. That was the issue in Phoenix. It wasn't necessarily he didn't hit it all that great with the ball striking, but he lost significantly around the green. He lost significantly putting. Yep. I think that's been the common theme for him is that, like, you know, even at Riviera, there was the 1 year that was really windy. I think it was the year that Max Homa won. Could not make a putt, was really terrible around the green. And then he went to concession in dead calm conditions. He was fine. But then the next 2 years at Riviera, relatively calm, not a whole lot of wind, and he's putting fine. So maybe it's nothing, but it's just something I noticed that, like, I was trying to rack my brain about, like, when has it been windy and why has Morikawa kind of suffered? It seems like on and around the greens for him. And I guess, listen, that could be enough for a top 10 because it's going to be fine on Thursday. It's going to be fine on Sunday. He does technically have a favorable weather draw. I'm a little worried about what's going to happen on Saturday afternoon for him.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the difference between winning and top 10s, but it was enough for me to
he's so accurate off the tee. He's so good at 200 plus. Like,
yeah.
And I feel like it's crazy. Like he's behind a couple other guys, and it's like, why is he behind? I don't know. Like, whatever. So that was my only bet, the sub 30, and then I took Mitchell like you did because I got him at 60, which is a good number for Florida, Steve. I don't need the shaming for all the reasons that you said. And then my boy Keegs at 80. Like I can't not bet Keegan at fucking 80. I just can't not do it. Like, he's such a good long iron player, long and fucking straight. Great course history here, which is sticky. Like, I don't know why. Like, that number is dumb. Like, this guy won in the last couple months. Like 80-1. Yes, I know he missed the cut, but last week. But what? I don't care. Like, I do not care. 80-1.
Was it here that he
all that?
Sorry, was it here that he played really well last year, or was that Players or both?
Players, he played really well.
Players was like my Sophie's fucking choice. I had a ticket on Cam, and Keegan was coming down the stretch, and I was like, I can't root against Keegan to do anything bad. I was texting Steve like, I don't know what the fuck to do. And remember, it was a Monday finish too. I was so stressed out because I was there Sunday, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, I can go back. I was like, no. I was like, I'm gonna watch it from the house. Like, and I was like, thank God I watched it from the house because I was like a giant fucking stress ball because like my heart wanted Keegan to win like so bad. Like, it was like rooting like almost above my money. And then once Cam actually won, I was very happy the fact that my bank account got better. But yeah, he's good in Florida too, man. And he's become such a much better putter. He's a guy who's not going to one putt shit, but I feel like his bogey avoidance is pretty solid. And like I said, that course history here, which I feel like is important, is good. And he's got all the attributes: long straight, great long iron player. Yeah, man, Andy's my guy. Like, I'm not gonna not bet him at 80-1. So and literally everybody that you guys talked about, I was thinking about Rory because for whatever reason I'm out on Ron this week. Same thing but I was looking at Xander and Finau. Right, I'm looking at the guys in the 20s, and I'm hearing everybody saying JT's drifting all afternoon. I've been checking my locals. He ain't drifting for me. He's still right there with them, like somewhere between 22 and 25. So really, my choice is going to be add Rory end of card, or add another 20 guy. Like, yeah, that's it. I'm going to have 4 guys on my card. So am I going to feel more comfortable with Rory, or am I going to feel more comfortable with Xander or Finau?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that question kind of answers itself.
So you're out on JT.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, I'd be fine with him if I could get him at like the numbers that everybody's talking. He's drifting at like 28, 30, shit
Yeah,
like
so
that.
so I see a 28. I'm gonna wait till tomorrow and see what happens. If I see a 3, I'm probably gonna hit it and then hope
out of principle.
Hope we did the players last year. Hope
Yep.
we did the PGA. Hope we did the Masters. Even I actually remember that on Friday. It was horrible to start, and then Friday weather conditions were terrible. He shot like 5 under that day miraculously.
JT just worries me with his putting. With his tendency to get squirrely off the tee, the fact that his approach game has been fucking god awful for the past fucking 2 months, really. Like I think he's appropriately priced. Like I feel like if his name wasn't JT, we'd already see a 3 in front of his name.
Okay. All right. So all right. Well, why don't we take another break and then we'll get to other props like matchups and positionals.
That's you, Bob.
Oh, okay. Well, so we're going to talk about Piper golf balls. So look, like, we're coming out of winter, you're going to get your gear, you go to, sporting goods store, get new golf balls. Obviously you're going to gravitate towards the premium golf balls, but why pay extra for a golf ball that might actually help your game? Because listen, you're not a low handicap golfer, might not be able to maximize, the benefits of a Pro V1 or a Callaway. So why you offer a golf ball that actually will help your game? And Piper golf balls can do that. They actually have a chart on their website where they break down by handicap what type of golf ball is good for you for Piper Golf. So for example, their green line of balls, that's for your higher handicaps, your 15 plus guys. That's for guys with a little slower swing speeds. They have extra distance boosters in order to help you get the ball out there. That's going to lower your scores because you're going to be closer to the green. They got their blue line of golf balls. Those are for your 5 to 15 handicappers. Your skilled guys, you can kind of get it out there a little bit, but maybe you need a little more help with a little more distance. Maybe you don't want the ball to spin as much off the tee on off center hits. It'll keep it, narrow your dispersion off the tee or with your approach shots. They got their black line of golf balls. Those are for your scratch to 12 handicappers. It's got a smooth, soft feel, a higher spin, so the ball lands soft on the green. But the real, creme de la creme golf ball from Piper golf balls is the gold line. That's for your handicaps. If you got a 7 or less, that's their Pro V1 equivalent. It's a 4-piece urethane golf ball. Feels just like a Pro V1. I got a shipment last week. I can't wait to use it on the golf balls. It's going to give me a high ball flight, soft feel. But what it's really going to do for me, it's going to give me extra spin and control around the green. That's really going to help my game. Because listen, I can go to the driving range and hit driver and irons over and over. But if you really want to lower your scores quick, get really good around the green, and your scores are going to go down. And Piper Golf can do that with their gold line of golf balls. So go to piper.golf/GGP. You'll get 10% off your first order using promo code GGP. You can opt to subscribe and receive scheduled shipments on golf balls at a 50% discount. And you get free shipping on any orders over $50. So go to piper.golf/GGP and improve your game today. And then lastly, we want to thank you for watching us on YouTube right now. Go and click the subscribe button and check out our content every single week.
Yeah, and I threw it to you earlier, right? I missed one. So we're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is the home for the offseason NFL best ball drafts. They also got you covered for a ton of other daily games, including the NBA, NHL, and PGA. Underdog Fantasy is a great way to get down on your favorite player props if they're not available in your state. Head over to underdogfantasy.com. Use promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN. My bad, dude.
Okay. All right, Joe, let's kick it back to you. You love doing the matchups. So do you got any matchups on your card this week?
Yeah. I'll give you 2 of the ones that I like. Rory over Rahm. I got a plus 115 earlier today. There were some better numbers out there earlier in like the plus 130 range, but I think it got hit pretty hard, man. It's all the way down now. I'm trying to pull up the latest odds. Let me see here. But I think he has much better setup at this golf course. I don't think that they're that far off. Yeah, he's even odds now in that matchup. The other one that I like as an underdog at the same odds, plus 115, was Justin Thomas over Patrick Cantlay. I don't think Cantlay is going to like this place. I don't know what his course history is, but I can just see him getting very frustrated. It's 0 course history. I don't think that he likes playing in Florida. I don't like him on difficult golf courses in general. I don't like him in the wind. All signs for me go to Justin Thomas, who we know plays good in Florida. We know doesn't have great course history here, but you mentioned Sawgrass, you mentioned PGA National wins. He's also played very well at Valspar before. He's also
he just won Seminole.
Did he win?
Yeah,
I didn't know
that's
that.
what the leaked word was. Yeah, the word is
Wow.
that him and whoever he was playing with won Seminole.
Oh,
Yeah.
so he's coming in on a heater right now. He fixed those irons, fixed the putter. Let's go.
He's coming in on a heater, man. I'll take JT and Rory both is underdogs in those two matchups. And then in terms of like, I was just looking at the top 40 market, one that kind of drew my attention. So I like to kind of stick around this. I don't know if this is the best strategy. I'm more have better long-term stuff with the outrights, but looking at kind of guys where you can get in the top 40 or top 20 at around 2-1 betting price, I think is kind of the way that I like to typically play them. Hayden Buckley's plus 200 to top 40. The other guy's Ryan Fox is plus 190 at DraftKings Sportsbook to top 40. He's like a top 40 player in the world by OWGR, like damn near close.
Right.
I think that he can show up here and have a good week. New Zealand guy, he should be very familiar playing in firm, windy conditions. And it's an opportunity for him to kind of showcase his skills over sort of on the PGA Tour. He's a veteran, so it's not like he's going to be like overwhelmed, I think, by the journey over here and the bright lights and all this stuff. I think that he could play pretty well, plus 190 there. And the other thing I was looking at, speaking of Seminole, I was going to look to see where I can isolate some stuff on Matt Fitzpatrick, because I heard that he withdrew in the middle of I mean, it's like what? It's like a member pro tournament. It's nothing. So the fact that he would even withdraw, like, why show up if you're going to withdraw? So that was weird to me. I think it might have something to do with the neck, would be my indication. So that's another weird one where I might look to try to find some markets to potentially exploit that.
Let me caution you on this, because I was texting a certain PGA player last weekend, and he said he was only 60%, and I was like, "Oh, are you now?" And I was like, "Oh, is it the back? Yeah. Oh, it's the back, is it? Okay. Let me find you in some matchups." And he played better than 60%. Yeah. So just a word of caution.
Absolutely.
That one bit me right in the ball sack. So that was fun.
Well, we talked about Fitzpatrick last night, where I was looking at his recent results over the last six months. So I noticed that, both, he did the speed training. Bryson did the speed training. When Bryson came out of the COVID break off the tee and with the irons, he was just on fire. And that was kind of like with Fitzpatrick off the tee and with the irons. He was great. That's why he won the US Open. But over time, the iron play went away for Bryson. It's been going away for Fitzpatrick. Is that because of injuries or because of the speed training? Like maybe a combination of both. So yeah, I don't really love where Fitzpatrick's game is right now either. Now, like if it is a situation though, where greens are extremely firm and no one's hitting the green, then yeah, a guy like Fitzpatrick maybe getting up and down, be able to put the putt, be good. But again, like, the questions with the health, that's not a good situation there. It's definitely something to monitor.
Like it. Yeah, I'll be looking at that.
Okay. All right, Capper, what about you? What about matchup?
Thanks for that, Joe. So now you're gonna get yelled at for Rory and all my Fitz money.
Well, I'm looking now. He's in a matchup with your boy Shane Lowry. Lowry's a huge underdog.
I know, because Lowry fucking sucks here. He's so bad here.
I don't mind Lowry's chances this week. Lowry and Hideki are both weird ones that I don't feel like should be 70-1. Hideki, I think, is a little bit better of a player, but Lowry can be unbelievable, dude. They both are major pedigree, like talented players. I like them both on tough golf courses. Lowry has the ability to scramble and get up and down out of everywhere. Hideki kind of has that too when he's playing his best. So they're both of those guys. I think just betting price alone, I don't mind just like a blind bet on either one of them.
Yeah, listen. I'm a Lowry guy. I fucking love Lowry, but I don't know, man. He's got bad course history here. He couldn't putt in the fucking ocean last weekend, and he is good up and down the green until it's money time, and then he wants to chip it into the fucking water at Heritage, right? Like,
that's
I mean, not that anybody remembers that or anything. Certainly not me.
You got bad history with Lowry last year too. I mean, Honda, Heritage.
Yeah. Honda was a tough.
Honda was brutal.
Yes,
too.
It was. That was brutal.
Yeah, that was super fun. Yep, super fun. Lots of Scott tissue with my boy Shane. All right, so you want to I'll run through my matchups real quick. I'm with you on JT and Cantley. I didn't get the same number that you got. I got plus 105. Good enough for me.
Yep.
Fucking Steve has made it a point that Cantley, for whatever reason, avoids Florida.
He does
at all costs, and he does not have good Florida history. He's never played here. Give me JT all day. And then I'm taking Hatton over Spieth. The weather draw is there. So that solidified it for me. It's only minus 125. I know only minus 25 in the matchup. All you plus EV whatever. I don't care. The Hatton's course history here is insane. He's in much better fucking form, and Speed's played here once, right? Just one time.
One time in a top 5.
Yeah, but whatever. Like, he doesn't make the fucking 3-footers. Don't care. I'm fine with that. And then Tommy Fleetwood over a Seamus Power. This is a course that Fleetwood, if he's ever going to win on U.S. soil, this is made for him. Plays really well in bad conditions. Seamus is a good golfer, and I love backing Seamus Power, like, for the most part. But it was minus 105 on each side where I found it. So yeah, I want Fleetwood. But he got the good weather wave as well. I waited for my matchups until I saw the tee times, so I found that one. And then I also have Rahm over Scotty and Rory over Scotty, just based on the weather wave, and it's a coin flip. Rahm is minus 120. Rory's minus 115 over Scotty. I'll eat the juice on a coin flip based on the weather splits and talent. That's it.
Okay. All right. I have similar stuff to my hypothetical matchups because I no longer have matchups because I'm terrible at it. So, and it's actually been okay this year.
I was about to say, you're not terrible at it.
No. Well, I mean, in theory, I'm not terrible at it, but when I actually put stone cold cash in it, I kind of alter the universe and it goes bad for everybody involved. So, I also have found a matchup that I didn't like Scotty Scheffler. It was more about the price though. So Max Homa was plus 155 against Scheffler straight up. So Homa has the favorable tee draw. And you look at like, all right, we're getting off the West Coast. You know, what's going to happen there? But he's actually been pretty good in Florida. He got 13th in Players last year, 17th at Arnold Palmer. He's got a 10th at Arnold Palmer, 6th at Valspar, 22nd in Concession. He's got that 3rd place finish at TPC Twin Cities, the other Arnold Palmer with a lot of water there too. So I think he can hold his own. And listen, like, I mean, you know, Scheffler, I think the world of him, obviously former winner, but you give me plus 155 against Max Homa, a guy playing that well. I can't theoretically pass that up. So hopefully you can bet that, and I won't push it for you. I also have an anti-Cantlay matchup. I took Xander minus 105 over Cantlay. I mean, obviously Xander doesn't have the Florida history, but I just trust him more in winning conditions. They actually went head-to-head at Travelers last year in winning conditions, and Xander prevailed, and Cantlay was a disaster that day.
A fucking puddle. I had money on that fucking.
Yeah, I think I bet him at 18-1. I was like, all right, this is going to be good. Xander's not going to win. He never wins, and then that happens. So
I had to worry about. Heath had a better shot than Cantlay. Fucking puddle.
Exactly. So yeah, so Xander minus 105 over Cantlay, and then I'm fading Cam Young in a matchup. Obviously, like, I think people might like him because people think about Bryson. Maybe he can do that here. I don't know if that's going to work this week with all the wins. He's been really bad around the green, really struggling with the putter too. If it's really difficult conditions where no one's hitting greens, I really worry about him in that. And I just trust Tommy Fleetwood in some of these, Florida windy weather conditions. Played well Riviera a couple weeks ago. I think he's rounding back into form after kind of struggling at the start of the year. Tommy Fleetwood plus 105 over Cam Young.
Like it. I like that one better than Power. I wish I had access to that one.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I like that one as well. I've kind of been trying to fade Cam Young in a lot of matchups this season, and it's worked out pretty well. He's the only guy, like, I'm just kind of looking through like DraftKings pricing even. He's the only player in the field this week that's above, let me see, that's above 7,800 that loses in both around the green and putting. And it's not like real close. He loses pretty significantly in both. Just you got to do one of those things well, especially on a course with low greens and regulation percentage. It's going to require scrambling. It's going to require a lot of 8-footers for par. If you have deficient in one, you have to be good at the other. And the fact that he is like the only guy inside of 80-1 and above 7,800 on DraftKings this week that is a substantial loser in both of those, it's just too much to overcome with the driver.
No, I agree. I mean, like, you just said it right there. I mean, his around the green number has been horrible. Putting has been horrible. I watched a lot of him in Saudi Arabia because I actually had a bet on him there. And it seems like, I mean, he was great there. Otherwise, though, he's been kind of flat since the beginning of the year. Like, I mean, who knows what's going on with him. But yeah, I don't really love him a whole lot this week. So Capper stepped out. I'll just go over some of my positionals. This is where I have the Morikawa FOMO bet, I guess. I'm going to do a FOMO bet of the week tomorrow. This is probably going to be it. Listen, I also have a track record with Kyle Morikawa. Everything I say something like I make this grandstand or like I appear to have this aha moment with him. He tends to shove in my face. So, and I did say that, like, I mean, Capper, you're right. Tee to green. I don't have a lot of concerns with him there. I'm a little concerned about when he experiences wind, if that's going to knock him between like a top 10 and a win. But I found a good top 10 price on Morikawa plus 265. I think that's pretty doable for him. I like that price. So that's where I'm going to have Morikawa in case he ends up shoving in my face and winning this week. I'll at least get a little money there.
I really hope that happens.
Yes, I know you do. So I have a terrible track record of making grand proclamations about Colin Morikawa. So I found a good top 20 on Max Homa. I just like it was plus 150. I think he's going to keep it. I think he's going to keep it rolling. Great driver, great around the green. He can putt on these greens too, so I don't really have concern about him going from Poa to here. I just think he's solid. I just think getting plus 150 for top 20 doesn't have to be perfect. Gives a little bit more leeway. We'll do that. So I wanted to have Keith Mitchell on my card too for positional besides the outright. Best I could kind of do is like a top 30 at plus 120 for him. I really like the fact that he's going out real early on Friday. And maybe he ends up being like in the top 5 or so, kind of hangs on for the weekend there. So Capper, you want to say something?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys could hear that. Like the dog's going nuts, the kids screaming, and then my dog just barged in the door. My other daughter pulled the dog out. So that was fun. Welcome to dad life. Welcome to dad life, guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
What number did you get him at?
It's a top 30 plus. Actually, it's plus 115.
I'm so jealous you have access to these markets, but once again, I think it's probably better for me.
Yeah, I mean that's a like for me, like you just went over your strategy about like you like guys 2-1. For me, like if I can get like plus 110 to like plus 175, I'll go further than that. But like if I can get like a wider net on a guy, that I feel really good about at plus money. Like I'm not looking. I understand like when I make all these bets, I hope to win all of them, but I'm just really looking to win like 60% of them. I'll just win money for the week, win my outrights back if I don't hit. So that's a one I like. So that's a wide net for Keith Mitchell. A lot of room for error in case maybe he falters on Sunday or over the weekend. So top 30 on him, plus 115. And then a couple top 40 bets. Tommy Fleetwood, plus 110 for a top 40. Again, I just said I like him in Florida. I like him in winning conditions. He played well at Riviera. I think he can keep it rolling. And then Gary Woodland, plus 125 for a top 40. I don't love that price, but he's played really well at Riviera, been hitting a great tee to green. Awesome history at this event in Florida. It seems like that, around this time last year, he kind of got it rolling. So at the Honda Classic, it was T5. Then he finished 5th at Bay Hill. Cut the players, but I'm just going to assume he was on the bad wave. I'm not even
bad wave. Even if he wasn't, doesn't matter.
Exactly.
He was bad wave.
But then
he
had T21 at Valspar, T8 at Valero. So it seemed like when he started getting going in Florida, or around this time, he started getting it going. I think he can continue again. So again, a wide margin for him at plus money for Gary Woodland, who I think, just tee to green, can handle himself here, can handle himself with the win in adverse conditions. Those are my positionals. And then I left enough. Like usually I like doing like 7, 8, 9 positionals. I have room after Friday where I can start adding some stuff for guys that kind of limped into the weekend, maybe make a little bit of a run on Saturday. We'll see what happens.
Like it. Yeah, so I'm mostly like Joe as far as like the 2-1, unless I can get like a juicy number on like a heavy favorite. And man, that has been really sweating me the last 2 weeks. And so I'm gonna back off that a little bit this week. And my place has no dead heat either, so that really helps. But I got Mitchell at top 20 at plus 195. I got Haddon at plus 145. Keegan plus 227 for whatever reason. Got to get that extra 0.2 in, I guess, Mr. Bookie. And then Fleetwood at plus 235. I was looking real hard at Morikawa minus 115 and Homa at plus 105 for top 20s too. I think I'll probably end up pulling the trigger on that. That might be on my final CAD. Who knows? Because I'm a degenerate and I have no fucking self-discipline. So, there you go.
Exactly. So. All right, Joe, you got any closing thoughts on Bay Hill in this
week? Wait, time out. We need to talk about first round leaders. You doing any first round leaders this week, Joe?
No, I don't do first round leaders. You know this, bro.
Why can't I get you on board? It's such bullshit. It's such a good sweat. Dude, listen, pick 5 guys, throw fucking $20 on them. You spent $100 on worse for a great sweat on a Thursday.
I sweat it anyways. I sweat my matchups. I sweat the outright. So I still feel the sweat. It just carries over. And I don't feel like if I hit something everyone ends up disappointed. Even when you hit a first round leader, you're pissed because it got chopped 3 ways. So there's like, it very rarely, I feel like, pans out, and you mostly have to, unless you're going to take a top guy like Rory 20-1 or something, where you get a flip
right,
on the odds. You usually get worse.
Let me tell you on that then. All right, so Rory, back-to-back first round leaders here, back-to-back.
Here?
Can he do it here? Back
shoot,
to back.
I didn't know that.
Yep, back-to-back first round leader. You can get him at 22-1.
So he's gonna go for the
Come
Tom
on, man.
Mansky back to back.
Back to back. Let's go. You got to throw $20 on it. You already bet him 10-1. You got to throw $20 on for the first round leader to join us on the Thursday sweat. Come on, man.
Peer pressure. We'll see.
Yeah. That's what I do best.
All right.
I wanted to see if you would join me.
You know who I am excited to see? We didn't talk about. You guys know about this dude, Ludwig Aberg?
Yes.
No shot.
Yeah, the really highly touted amateur from what, Sweden, right?
From Sweden, but he plays at Texas Tech. He's won like
I have heard of him.
He's won like 3 events this year. Probably, I would say, playing there in Lubbock, pretty good in the wind. It's making like his debut in here. I was just looking at like he's number 1 ranked amateur in the world. His top 40 price is like plus 350. So I don't know, maybe just a fun sweat. I like to have a little sweat on these new guys. Like I took Cootie last week, top 40, just so that I can kind of follow them. It's a totally degenerate thing to do, but at least I have them favored and I kind of follow their rounds. And I feel like I'm at least, even though losing a bet, like getting a little intel for the future.
Yeah. No, all this is turning into for you is the next Adam Svensson. You're gonna bet him for fucking 6 years before
bet
he
him
pays
forever,
off.
baby.
So wait, time out. So there's a new Texas amateur golfer, because who was the dude who was gonna do our podcast and then just bailed?
Oh, Sam Bennett.
Yeah, so fuck Sam Bennett. Let's root for Ludwig.
Sam Bennett, the guy who takes real long time.
Yeah, it takes fucking real long.
Yeah,
exactly.
I got his number, but he goes to this. So a couple of nuggets on Ludwig, and this is probably going to make Capper spend way too much money on him. So I think he was either first round leader or almost first round leader at the Abu Dhabi HSBC.
Yeah, he was.
What?
Yeah.
As an amateur?
65 opening round.
Yep. And then, so the PGA Tour, credit to them, by the way, because the PGA Tour has been putting out some kind of bad stuff on YouTube. Like they're trying to compete with the DP World Tour, and they just can't hold the candle.
They can't.
But they featured Ludwig, basically like what it's like to golf in Sweden during the snow. So he's out there in like hoodie and like a ski mask. He's hitting bunker shots out of like 3 inches of snow, basically to kind of simulate that. He's hitting drivers there. So basically, like they all pack into this like gymnasium. They're just hitting balls into nets. They're just looking for like little points just to hit at. I love that, dude. I might actually have to do like a top 40. Just
what's his last name? God damn it! What's his last
name? Aberg, Aberg.
Dude, he just won last week. I'm looking at a tweet, February 22nd, 2023. Aberg wins his 3rd consecutive event in a college tournament for Texas Tech. Number 1 am in the world. Special one, the first ever to win back-to-back. Coming in
fucking
hot.
Hate both of you. I hate both of you so much. You have no idea how much I hate you. It takes one earworm for me to be like, oh, let's go start following this guy around. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. My bank account hates you.
All right, Joe. Any other clothing thoughts before we get you out of here?
No, thanks for having me on, guys. Always a blast. You know, I love you guys. Keep up the great work, and anyone who wants to check me out is at TourPicks on Twitter. You can follow the podcast on Monday nights. It's called Preferred Lines. Very similar to this, the golf gambling podcast, but always a joy to talk to you fellas. Wish you guys the best of luck this week.
Yeah, with your podcast, you really upped the production game with your podcast.
Thanks, dude.
The intro is awesome. The graphics and everything, you're doing a killer job over there. So nicely done.
I meant to ask you this. So today's price is not tomorrow's price. What's that from? Is that from The Wire?
Yes, I think it's from The Wire, but it was sampled. Okay. It's sampled from a Pusha T song.
Yeah, that's fine. But I remember it from The Wire.
It's from The Wire. Yeah,
I was like, is he fucking taking it? Because I love the fucking Wire. That's a great goddamn show.
Yeah.
So
good
anyway,
stuff.
I wanted to clarify that, make sure I wasn't crazy. Anyway, go follow fucking Joe on Twitter. Listen to his podcast. I always got great guests on, and he does a great final segment that I personally enjoy.
Yes.
I always tell Joe I want to hire him as my fucking life coach. He puts shit in perspective at the end. Yeah, seriously, it's a really good listen. You can stream it live on Twitter, but we're on at the same time, so just go download it anyway for him. But other than that, API, man, we're ready to go. Let's fucking go. Let's break them fucking books.